Hello guys, this is Vijayalaxmi from Science Space. So in this video, I'm going to talk on modifications of the tap root. Let's go to the first slide, which talks about characteristics of a tap root. So let's go one by one. The first point says that the radicle of the embryo grows into the taproot. So basically any root it could be, whether it is an adventitious root or a taproot, basically the radicle undergoes developing into the root system. The primary root remains persistent in case of a taproot system. So whatever the primary root is there, it will be always present throughout its life cycle. That means it is going to be persistent. Next is, the taproot system comprises of a single main root and very small hairy like outgrowths which are called as secondary or tertiary root hairs. So basically in a taproot system there will be one main fleshy thick root which is termed as the primary root. Then the next is, the lateral roots are produced in an acropetal order. Acropetal order means in the taproot, the primary root will be surrounded by matured and older roots that will be present just at the base of the stem. But towards the growing tip, narrower region, we can find young juvenile roots. So this pattern of the distribution of roots is called as an acropetal order. The primary root will be always deep rooted in a taproot system. Therefore, it's very difficult for us to uproot a dicotyledonous plant because the roots, the root hairs will be deeply seated into the ground. Next is, the taproot system is mostly seen in a dicotyledonous plant. It means all the dicot plant family members will be bearing this kind of a root system. Some of the few examples which I'm going to tell you is Osminum tuniflorum, that is the common tulsi, Brassica campestris, that is the field mustard. Let's move to the new slide. So here I was discussing about the radicle as well as the plumule. So this is the 60 hours of a germinated maize seed. We can very well clearly distinguish that the plumule is whitish in region. The whitest region is called as the plumule, which gives rise to the shooting system, whereas the other part it is little darker, which is a radicle, which gives rise to the root. So this is the coriander, a typical dicotyledonous plant which is showing your taproot system. So we can see many thick and fleshy roots which are called as the primary root. The next is, this is an example of an assimilatory root which I am going to discuss in the few slides. Well friends, let me talk to you regarding the types of root systems. Actually, in this video, I am focusing mainly on the taproot modifications, but for the information and for better understanding, let us also understand that this particular pattern of rooting is called as a taproot, whereas this is called as the fibrous root system. The fibrous root system means the main root will grow, but it will stop at a certain level, and after that, many other hairy, small, thin, fibrous root will be emerging from the base of the stem. So this gives you a pattern of a bushy and a total mesh kind of root hair. So this is called as your fibrous root system. Okay, but there is one more root system which is called an adventitious root system. Here the characteristic difference between adventitious as well as fibrous is that in adventitious, the roots, the minute hairy structure which is the root and all, it can emerge or it can develop from any part of the aerial shoot system. So that is one striking feature between adventitious root system as well as a fibrous root system. So these are the modifications of some taproot system. So the taproot system, as I told you, usually they are present in acropetal succession within the ground, but some are modified roots also. For example, there are certain modifications of the taproot system which are meant for storage. Second is carrying out the nitrogen fixation. Then third one is for respiration purpose. So let's discuss all the three types one by one. Let's go to the first one, storage roots. The storage roots are basically, as the name itself says, these are the roots which get swollen and which get bulged within the ground in order to store and accumulate the food particles. And this is called as your storehouse of nutrition, and such a kind of modification which occurs in this root is called as a storage root. So storage roots can be of four categories. One is conical form, fusiform, napiform, and tuberous form. Let's discuss the first one, which is the conical form. As the name itself, in conical taproot modifications, the one end of the root, that is which is near to the base of the stem, it will be broader. As the root grows and tapers, it becomes pointed, so giving you the structure of a cone shape. So it is something like, it will be having like this and this. Again, I'm telling you, like this and this. So this forms the cone shape. It means such kind of root modifications are seen in our day-to-day use vegetable, which is carrot, that is Docus carota. The next one is the fusiform root. In the fusiform root, again there is a storage of accumulation of the food materials, but striking difference between the first one and this fusiform root is that both the ends of the root will be tapered, which is narrower. And this kind of resemblance always strikes us the formation of the form of a spindle, okay, or something like you have something called spindles, what we have studied, okay, shape, and also both the ends will be tapered in the at the end, both the ends, but in middle of portion it will be more fleshy and thick and bulbous. Common example is Indian radish. The next one is napiform root. Napiform root means the storage of the food material will be so much and so that the entire root becomes spherical in nature, bulbous and fleshy. And such examples are always found in turnip, which is Brassica vapor. The next is the tuberous root system. In the tuberous root system, there is no shape as such. Like for example, if you see this particular vegetable or the root, you can see it is irregular in nature. It means somewhere it is bulged and somewhere it is narrower. Such a kind of a root modification is named as your tuberous root modification. Example, Mirabilis jalapa, phorocra plant, and sweet potato. So this is the striking difference which shows in the form of a diagram or the picture. See, this is a conical, which is cone shaped. Okay, this is a next one is a fusiform, which is both the ends are tapering like a spindle. This is the napiform, bulbous spherical. This is irregular or tuberous root. The next slide talks about the nodulated or tuberculated roots. As the name itself, it says that these are the roots which have nodules at regular intervals. So have you seen a necklace with a bead? Exactly. So it resembles in the same fashion. So these roots, when you take it out, when you uproot it, you will find nodules or globular structures, and these are called as tubercles or the root nodules. These root nodules is comprising of many millions of nitrogen fixing bacteria, very famously known as Rhizobium genus bacteria. So all the Rhizobium, they are very famous for nitrogen fixation, as some plants cannot fix the atmospheric nitrogen which is freely available. So they have to undergo some kind of modification in order to acquire and in order to convert the atmospheric free nitrogen into the consumable form. Next is, these are most commonly noted in legumes. Some of the Fabaceae members like pea, gram, groundnut are one of the striking features of nodulated or tuberculated roots. The next slide is about the modifications of roots for photosynthesis. So, some of the roots are also modified for assimilatory purposes or for the purpose of photosynthesis. So, what happens is, some of the roots which are exposed directly to the sunlight, they develop the chlorophyll pigmentation. And as we know that chlorophyll is very important pigment for synthesis of food particles and food materials for the plants. So therefore, certain roots which are exposed on the trunk of the support plant or the resting plant, the plant the plant which rests on the other plant develops certain chlorophyllous roots in which the assimilation process continues so that the root synthesizes its own food. Example, orchids like Vanda and Tinospora species. So this is the picture of a Vanda wherein we can see some green chlorophyllous roots, which are exposed to sunlight and undergoes assimilation process. This slide talks about two examples. One is Vanda and the other one is the photosynthetic roots as seen in Tinophylum species, again an orchid. So we can see here the green coloration of the roots which when faced towards the sun goes into assimilatory process. The next one is adventitious tuberous root modifications. There are certain roots which are adventitious in nature but then again goes for the modification. One such very striking example is seen in asparagus wherein many roots or the primary roots, these are the roots which develop into the storehouse for the food materials. So we can see here each and every root undergoes transformation as well as modification and forms fascicles. And this is seen in asparagus wherein we can say that it is one of the example of tuberous root modification in adventitious root system. The next one is pneumatophores. These are the roots which are modified in order to respire by coming above the water or the ground level. One such characteristic feature is seen in mangrove vegetation. Example is Avicennia germinans. This is one of the very, very clear examples that even roots can communicate in order to have a proper respiration by coming out of the clogged water condition of the swamps. So here what happens is, these are the roots which are inside the water, but due to high salt concentration, high humidity and insufficient supply of the water and clogged conditions, these roots come out of the water surface and we can see that there are these holes and pits which are present over these roots, and these are called as lenticels, and these lenticels help in acquiring the respiration process by the roots. So therefore, in order to overcome the clogged and high salinity condition, these are the modified roots which come out of the water surface, and these are called as pneumatophores. These pits are called as lenticels. The next one is the modification of a strong support system to the plant. Certain plants show strong mechanical support by developing straight downward geotropically growing other secondary roots or tertiary roots which strike from the aerial branches and go downwards and strike to the ground and then penetrate into the soil, thus making pillar kind of appearances or structures, and this overall structure will help the entire tree or the plant to have a proper anchoring. So these are the roots which develop from tree branches It hangs downwards and ultimately get deep into the ground, thus giving a heavy support system to the entire plant. Classic example is the banyan tree. The next one is about the stilt roots. As we have seen in many sugarcane and maize, when you go for a field visit and all, you will see the sugarcane or the maize will be having just above the ground level, just above this ground level, near to the nearest node, many long obliquely growing roots will also emerge. These obliquely growing roots are called as your stilt roots. And these roots again, after touching the soil, penetrate deep into the soil or the ground and helps the entire plant for a strong anchoring and support. Example, sugarcane, maize and most of the monocots. This is about the climbing roots. As the name itself, climbing roots are found in climbers or the twining, weak the shooting and all, wherein the plant undergoes climbing on a structure or depends upon a support system by emerging out the climbing roots from the node of the stem. Okay, so this is an example which is seen in money plant or beetle. You must be surprised to see this figure. Let me clarify. In this figure, we can say that certain modified roots also act as hostorial roots. What do you mean by hostorial roots is that certain roots, when coming into contact of the host plant, this is a host plant. So these roots, after coming into contact with this pink color host plant, they develop some hostorial roots. Now these hostorial roots act in a way of a parasitic plant body. It means that it enters its root hairs deep into the xylem and the phloem vessel and takes out or absorbs the minerals and nutrition from the host plant so that it gets the nutrition. So this is getting nutrition by hostorial roots. So this is the modified root which is seen in Cuscuta. The next one is clinging roots. As the name itself, these roots help in clinging to the support for its growth and development. So special clinging roots arise from the nodal region, and these are the clinging roots found in vanda, that is an orchid. It penetrates deep into the tree trunk or the log or any kind of a support. And why this is done by this root is in order to have a better support and a better holding and a grip over the support system. So this is where we can see this is a clinging root which is giving out its chemical, so tip of the root hair, so that it attaches and enters into the crevices. Crevices means wherever there is a gap, breakage on the support, so that this root can cling and attach very firmly. And this is seen in most orchids, and these orchids are also named as epiphytes. It means the plant which is depending and resting or surviving not for any purpose, just for the support over the other plant. It is called as an epiphyte. Epi means above, phyto means plant. Epiphyte, over the other plants. The next is floating roots. These are the roots which are helpful in maintaining the light weight of the plant body. And these are the roots which are commonly found in your aquatic plants, for example, Jassia. So characteristic feature is, in these roots there will be spongy tissues, and these spongy tissues which are present within the root of this aquatic plant helps the plant to stay and float over the water surface level, so that these plants avoid themselves from sinking into the water body. And these are the very commonly seen in Jassia and other aquatic plants. So this is a review of whatever I have told you today. So we have three taproot system. The few taproot systems. The tuberous is not included anyways. Conical, carrot, fusiform, radish, beetroot. Okay. So this is a nematophore which is found in mangrove vegetation. So well guys, this was all about for today's video. I hope you guys have really liked and found more matter on the taproot modification. So I'm thankful that you have spent a quality time in understanding the taproot modifications in today's lecture. Hope to see you soon in my new and next upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.